Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and occasionally I get asked a comment like this, and it's something that's worth addressing. And I was asked, and I'm going to paraphrase this, if I don't suffer, if I'm not actually suffering from my training, how do I know that I'm maximizing my results? How do I know that I'm not getting the best results I could possibly get if I'm not suffering and putting myself in pain and giving 100%? And the answer is because it doesn't work that way. There's this really weird idea that started, and it goes back to what people used to talk about, no pain, no gain. There's these almost religious level of fanaticism in many training circles that you have to be suffering, that you have to be putting yourself through pain, that you have to be pushing yourself to the absolute limits all the time to make amazing progress. And there's this myth put forward that the people who get the best progress, that's why they do it. It's not because of their genetics combined with a lot of drugs. It's because they push themselves to those limits, and that's just not true. There's no need to have this level of fanaticism with it. In fact, if you are pushing yourself all the time to where you no longer enjoy your training because you're suffering, then for a lot of people, you're going to eventually burn out. You're going to quit. The truth is, getting good results in fitness or athleticism or muscle mass or even fat loss or body composition, anything else, isn't about who can train the hardest. It isn't about putting 100% forward all the time. It's about being consistent. Are you putting in a good, decent amount of work? It doesn't have to be maximum work all the time. Are you putting in a solid amount of work enough to be successful, and can you do it consistently without fail over and over and over? Can you maintain it in the long term? Can you be consistent? That's what builds muscle. That's what burns fat. That's what gets you stronger. Just consistent work. It doesn't have to even be that hard of work. And as far as the other thing with the suffering goes, it goes back to just certain personality types, and people with certain types of issues are oftentimes drawn into things like fitness or bodybuilding or similar endeavors, and therefore they put their own ideas in that you have to suffer in order to get results. And that's fine if that's what they enjoy, but I might also suggest that they consider getting help for their own issues if they're really that masochistic, if they really enjoy their own suffering all the time. Again, this is the sort of thing that leads to religious fanaticism. This is the sort of thing that in the long term doesn't lead to a healthy mindset. That is not a healthy mindset to take to your training, and it's not something that's going to keep you happy or give you a positive sense of well-being in the long term, because that's what fitness should be about. That's what weightlifting and training should be about, is does it positively affect you in the long term? Does it affect you mentally positively? Does it affect you physically positively? And if you're suffering all the time, the other thing to remember, not just the fact that you might quit, people who are training that way and focused upon the suffering and the burn and DOMs and subjecting their body to trauma all the time rather than just building themselves up, are also at a much, much higher injury rate. These are the people who get hurt. These are the people who hurt all the time. They're going to be more predisposed to chronic injuries over time. So it's really not a healthy mindset or approach to take to training. So remember, guys, training is, so just like the old adage says, stimulate, don't annihilate. It's all about just putting in consistent, solid work over time, not about how much trauma you can subject yourself to. The former will lead to progress, the latter will lead to burnout and injuries. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.